Today we learned about negative exponents. So, for example, 2 to the negative 4th power. Now, the thing about negative exponents is it doesn't make the answer negative necessarily. It's kind of the opposite of positive exponents. 2 to the positive 4th power means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. You're repeatedly multiplying, so you get 16. When you have a negative exponent, instead of repeatedly multiplying, you could think of it as repeatedly dividing by 2 4 times. And so what you end up with when you're repeatedly multiplying over and over again by 2, you end up with a fraction. If you divide by 2 on the first time, you get 1/2. Divide by 2 again, you'll get 1/4, 1/8, and then 1/16. It's really the equivalent of this, 1/16. Okay? So 2 to the negative 4th power really means 1 over 2 to the regular 4th power. That's all a negative exponent's really saying. It's saying make this into a fraction, and then it'll simplify to this, 1/16. Now, this is true even if the base isn't an actual number. It could be a variable. For example, let's say n to the negative 7th power. All that means is, because it has a negative exponent, we put a 1 over n to the regular 7th power. And that's all it is. Notice, it doesn't make this answer negative. That negative exponent represents that it's a fraction. Now, we can also have some problems involving negative exponents where we have to simplify them. For example, let's say we have 7m to the negative 4th power. Okay? Now, what this really means is m is being raised to the negative 4th power, but 7 isn't. So this is equivalent to saying just 7 times m to the negative 4th power. And since we just learned that m to the negative 4th power really means 1 over m to the regular 4th power, we can simplify it to that. And to get your final answer, just multiply this whole thing. 7's a whole number, so I'm going to put it over 1, and then just multiply the top times the top to get the top, bottom times the bottom, and get the bottom. There it is simplified. 7m to the negative 4th power simplifies to 7 over m to the 4th power. And if you look at this, you could have figured this out without doing all this work, because 7 is a regular number, so it goes on top. M has a negative exponent, so we know it's going to go on the bottom of your fraction. All right, we'll do one more. Let's say we have here 2m to the negative 7th over 8. Okay. A little more complicated this time, but just like we were doing with the other power rules, let's deal with our coefficients first. 2 divided by 8 is 2/8, which reduces to 1/4. And then m to the negative 7th power really means 1 over m to the regular 7th power. So I've just simplified this problem down to this. Multiply these two things together. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times m to the 7th is 4m to the 7th. And now I have my answer, 1 over 4m to the 7th. So you see, negative exponents, you just have to remember that negative exponents represent that it makes it into a fraction. So when you see a negative exponent, know that that whole term is going to end up in the denominator of a fraction.